Guys, welcome back to the channel. It's good to have you guys back here to the channel. So in today's tutorial I am going to be showing you how to make a face cap. Well, this tutorial has long overdue. I'm supposed to have posted it since last year, but as in work has been hectic. We thank God for sales. That's what we've been praying for, right? Yeah. So I decided to, you know, just make it out of leather. I like the way it came out. I'm actually not a fan of face cap, but I think this is lovely. This is lovely. Okay, so you can use any fabric of choice, and then you can also use a leather. So I tried it out on leather and it came out nice. So I'll explain how I went about everything in the course of the video. So if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always coming back. I love you and God bless you. And if you're just tuning into the channel for the very first time, please do to click on the subscribe button and also the notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post in new tutorials, because on this channel we have many more amazing tutorials to show you guys. So if you are looking for something to actually add to your collection as a bag maker, you could actually add this face cap. This is something you could do with any kind of fabric. Like I said, you could use jean, you could use designer leather, you could make it matching bag and face cap like this for your client. So if you're wanting the measurements to use, the standard measurement for a face cap is 24 inches. So the head circumference of the person, the standard head circumference for both male and female is 24 inches. If you don't know how to measure head circumference, I have a tutorial on the channel on how to measure head circumference, and I am going to be dropping it in the description box so that you'll be able to know how to measure somebody's head circumference. But if you just want to just start cutting, then 24 inches is your measurement. So having said that, let's go straight into the tutorial so that you can see how to make this gorgeous face cap. So guys, to start out with this our face cap, the first thing I'm going to be going ahead and do is to be drafting out the pattern. And the first pattern I'm going to be drafting out is the pattern of the brim of the face cap. So the measurement I am using is 8 by 5 inches. That is the standard measurement. You can reduce it if you want, but I would recommend you use that measurement. So I now folded it into two, the way you see it this way from the camera. Then from the folded end, I went up by 2 inches. So from that 2 inches, I just made a curve to the open end. Now on this other open end, I went in by 1 inches. Then I'm just going to use my free hand to just make it curve like this. This is because the front of our face cap is not square, but it is like slightly curved. So you can go in by 1.5 inches, 2 inches, depending on how much curve you want to have in front of your brim. So after you're done cutting out the pattern, this is what it looks like. The next thing you're going to go ahead and do is to cut it out on your carry board. It is very, very essential because we want the brim of the face cap to be stiff, to be able to stand on its own. So now the next thing I'm going to be cutting now is the face cap itself. Is the base of the face cap. Now right from the beginning of the video, I told you guys that the measurements the standard measurement is 24 inches. Now if you notice, our face cap has 6 segments. Yes, it's 6 panels that is sewn in one. So what you are going to go ahead and do now is you are going to divide that 24 inches by 6, and you are going to be having 4 inches, if I am not wrong, 4 inches. Now what you are now going to do is you will now add extra half inches as stitching allowance. It is very, very essential. So you'll be cutting out your panel at 4.5 inches. Now for the length of the brim, you are using 7 inches at the length of the brim. So from the middle of your head to your forehead, the measurement is 7 inches. So you'll be adding half inches as stitching allowance again, then you measure 7.5 inches. So our total measurement that we are using is 4.5 inches by 7.5 inches. So you go ahead and fold it into two the way you see I fold it like this. Then from one open end, you go up by 1 inches. Now after you go up by 1 inches, you just use your free hand to make a curve. The way you see that I make this curve like this, you make a slight curve. So if you now open your panels like this is what it will look like. You see that it has already showed the sign of one part of the face cap. So now you are going to use this panel to cut out the 6 pieces. Okay, you're going to use it to cut out 6 pieces. So I decided to use a different leather for the front part of the brim and another different leather for the back part of the brim. The reason is because the front part of our brim is stiffer, is stronger than the back part of our brim, of our face cap rather. So now while you are cutting the brim, make sure you are adding half inches allowance to the fabric, not the carry board. You are adding it to the fabric, not the carry board. That is going to be your stitching allowance. So what you go ahead and do now is to sew it by that half inches that you added. Then you make your notches by the curved part. Now when you make your notches by the curved part, you go ahead and turn it inside out and put the carry board inside. So the layers of carry board you are going to use is determined by the by how stiff you want your brim to be, but one layer is okay for me because I am not using a light carry board. Now the reason why I'm using another different leather for the front part of my face cap is because the front part of our face cap rather are normally stiff. So if you are using a fabric, for instance, let's say you are using a jean fabric or Ankara fabric or satin or any type of fabric you are using, make sure you put an interfacing gum stay. The interfacing you're going to use is gum stay. If you go to tailor shop and tell them to give you gum stay, they know it. So you buy gum stay, make sure you are buying the hard one. Then you iron it on two panels of your cap. You iron it on 2 panels of your cap. Then you understand what I mean in a bit. So after you go ahead and put your carry board inside your leather, you go ahead and stitch the front so that it will not move around. Okay, so this is just me rubbing machine oil on my leather because I am using a leather. But if you are using a fabric, this is not necessary. So after I rub the oil, I'll go to my sewing machine and stitch it. So when I was done stitching, this is what it looks like. So there's something else I want to do on the brim of the cap. This is actually optional. I just want to give it a kind of design. It is honestly optional. You don't have to do it. You could just leave yours plain like this and you could just give it the stitch that I want to go and stitch. So I just want to stitch it multiple times to just make it not look too plain. But like I said, it is optional. So I'll go to my sewing machine now and go ahead and stitch. So when I stitch it, this is what it looks like. It's just give the brim a kind of beautiful feel other than just leaving it plain. So this is the reason why I said you are going to add stiffener to the two face, and this is also the reason why I am using a thick leather for the front, because the front of the cap has to be stiff. Now it has to be 3 for 1 and 3 as 1 and 3 as 1. So when you join it, you go ahead and stitch it like this, making sure you are stitching it on that half inches that you added. Then you go ahead and join this one as well. You stitch it as well. Then when you are done, you go ahead and open it wide like this. because I am using a leather, I am not scared that it will unravel. But if you are using a fabric, you know fabrics used to unravel. What you are going to do is you are going to use a belt or a bias to just tape it on both sides like this so that it will look neat on the inside. So what you do for one, of course, is what you're going to go ahead and do for the second one. Now the next thing you're going to go ahead and do is to put the third panel on the other side. Then you go ahead and stitch it, then you top stitch it as well. So there's something I want you to note while stitching. It is very, very essential. This part that is colored is the part that is going to be in the front. So therefore, the two panels had to be exactly the same thing. Else, one will be on the left and one will be on the right. You see it in a bit. So this is what I mean. I realize that if you join it like this, you see that it is not giving what it should give. You see, it is wrong. You see it is wrong. So make sure you are checking it while sewing so that you will not make this mistake. You see, it is wrong. It is wrong. The two colored leather are not together. You see what I'm saying? So it is wrong. The two colored leather are supposed to be facing each other. So I am going to go and lose it now and make the corrections. But I decided to show this part of the face cap so that you'll be able to avoid this mistake while making yours. All right, so I am going to remove the colored leather and put it on the other side of the fabric of the black leather so that it will align. So after I did the correction, this is how it's going to look like. You see that it is correct. So when you put them right side facing each other, they are exactly the way they should be. So make sure the center is aligned exactly how it should be. Then you go ahead and sew it using that half inches that you added. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. You hold on, you don't top stitch yet. The reason is because you want to open the back of the face cap where there are going to be an adjuster. So what you're going to go ahead and do now is to arrange it nicely and measure 1.5 inches like this and 2 inches upwards. Okay, so you are measuring 2 inches upwards and 1.5 inches sideways. All right, so when you measure it, you just go ahead and make your curve. So this is what I'm doing: 2 inches upwards like this, and then 1.5 inches sideways like this. Then you use your free hand to just give it a slight curve. So when you are done with the curve, you go ahead and cut it out. So after you cut it out, you go ahead and make sure you backstitch that place again so that it will not unravel. Then you go ahead and give it that top stitch to give it that nice finishing. Like I said, if you are using a fabric, make sure you use a belt or a bias so that it will not unravel. So after we are done, this is what it looks like. The brim of the head of our cap has already come together. Okay, so you see that the thing has started making sense. So you go ahead and cut off any excess thread. Now the next thing you're going to go ahead and do now is to join the brim to the cap itself. So what I went ahead and do is to give the brim a notch. Okay, you go ahead and give your brim a notch. Then you now put it, you see, I gave my brim a notch. Then you will now put it exactly on the middle. All right, then you start sewing from the middle. When you get to this other end, then you sew that other end as well. It's very, very essential you start sewing from the middle so that it will not stress you at all. So after I was done joining them together, this is what it looks like. As you can see, our cap is done. What is left now is the finishing touches. So now what you're going to go ahead and do now is to use your bias. I'm using a lining here. You can use a lining, anything you have at your disposal, but if you are using a fabric, it's advisable you use the same fabric for this point like this. So you just go ahead and tape it so that it will not look rough. So after you're done taping it, this is what it looks like. You see that it is neat and it doesn't look rough. Now the next thing you're going to go ahead and do is to cut out a fabric of 2 inches in width. All right, you cut out a fabric that is 2 inches in width, then you put them right side facing each other, then you sew. When you get to the brim, you fold the brim backwards, then you sew the fabric on top of the other part that you stitch. So after you're done stitching, this is what it should look like. You see what it looks like. Now this is just a 1 inches adjuster that I just put a fabric on. Then you fold in your lining like this. I just hope you are seeing what I'm saying. I don't know if you're seeing what I'm saying. At this point, English has finished. So you put your adjuster, make sure the adjuster is the way it's supposed to be. Then you go ahead and top stitch it. All right. I don't know whether it's left or right. Anywhere you like. I'm left-handed, so if I put it where it's not supposed to be, don't be angry. You do the correct one. So after you stitch, then you go ahead and start top stitching. You top stitch up to this extent, then you add your extra 1 inch strap that will go through the adjuster. So when you are done, this is what it looks like, and this is the final page. This is the final stage of the face cap. Honestly, it came out beautiful. I was not expecting it to come out this nice, but the next one I'm going to be doing with a fabric so that it will come out even better. But the leather is nice. It's nice show. It's nice show. So when you're done, this is everything about our face cap. So guys, I hope you learned one or two from this tutorial. I hope you're going to give me a thumbs up. I hope you're going to say something nice in the comment section. Also, don't forget to ask me questions on any part of the face cap that you don't understand. And if you would love me to post the tutorial of the one I'm going to do next using a fabric so that you'll be able to compare the both of them, no problem. Drop it in the comment section that you would like to see that tutorial, and I am going to post it as soon as I make it. Having said that, guys, thank you guys for watching, and see you guys in my next tutorial.